So
we're live. Fantastic.
hey,
Hi. Hi, everybody. Hello.
hi Judah, how are you?
Fantastic.
Okay,
It's a great Friday.
yeah, it is TGIF.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, for those of you who don't know, my name is Katherine. I'm the QUOINE VP of Marketing. I'm here with Judah Hirsch, CEO and founder of SALPay, dialing in from the Philippines, and I'm here dialing in from Singapore. And today we're going to talk about SALPay and also Salarium. Judah, can you just give us a quick description about Salarium? What's a project about? What's it trying to solve in the marketplace today?
Sure. So Salarium and SALPay, we're an existing payroll and fintech solution here in the Philippines. So we've been around for about 4 years now. And what we do in a very quick nutshell is we give away an HRIS and payroll solution to companies essentially for free if they pay their employees on our e-wallet and debit card platform, which is called SALPay. And so a lot of these clients are BPOs and multinational corporations. And so they're already loading funds directly into our software and into our solution. And we're using that to disperse it to their employees. The problem that they have is that this money actually originates in, let's say, Singapore, Australia, US, EU. These companies have to send the money into the Philippines just to load it into our SALPay system. And so that's exactly what our ICO and our token is about, is that utility of helping people just move money across border and into an existing payout ecosystem that already exists.
Okay, so could you tell us a little bit more about the use cases of the SALPay wallet and the card? Like, how does it work for how does the value add for, say, migrant workers who want to enable sending money back seamlessly through the SALPay token from overseas to their home countries like the Philippines? Like, how does it, help, lower transaction costs maybe, or does it just make the transactions faster, real time, compared to the current fiat transfer processes today?
So all of the above. For us, the SALPay token acts kind of as the native currency in our existing fiat stored value ecosystem. So we're just tokenizing that money. So from the average migrant worker, when he gets paid in Australia in the hopefully very soon a SALPay wallet there, and then he wants to send it to a SALPay wallet in the Philippines, for him, the experience is very seamless. I see a fiat amount in Australia, and this is the fiat amount that my loved one or my own wallet can receive in the Philippines. But actually what's happening in the background is, that we've tokenized that transaction. We've turned his fiat into a SALPay token at the equivalent market rate value, sent that over to the Philippines, sold it back again, and loaded it into our ecosystem. So for a lot of the customers, they will primarily be dealing fiat to fiat. And so this token is just, reducing transaction fees and speeding up the cost because we're putting in the value of also establishing our exchanges in those countries so that people can send the money and receive the money from those indirect nodes.
Okay, so do you have like a rough estimated timeline, or say if I were working in Australia and I want to send money to my relatives back in, say, Malaysia, how long would it take from end to end?
So Malaysia, in terms of us, like we're targeting Malaysia for next year, 2019. But in terms of timeline, maybe 1 to 2 hours total processing time. The fee that we're targeting is 1% or less. So very, very low fee. And then the whole experience really for the user on the receiving end is that we have this app, we have this card, we have this whole relationship that they can do more with their money because that's the business that we already do. So it's not when they get the money in the Philippines, it's not that the only option they have with that wallet is to receive it and go with it. We have already in our ecosystem like microfinancing. We're introducing this year micro insurance, micro savings accounts. Of course, we do bills payment, kind of financial services apps. And so that is allowing the migrant worker not only to get their money back to their country, but also for that money to go further. And that's what makes Salarium very successful today is when we pitch it to companies, it's kind of a win-win. Here's a free solution that you need anyways to manage your employees. And our wallet helps your employees' money go further than it goes today if it was in a traditional bank account.
Okay, I see. So essentially you're building up the utility of the SALPay token, not just as a remittance solution, but also for them to get loans or maybe get insurance, things like that. Is that
so that's in the fiat base. So SALPay is both a cryptocurrency company and a fintech stored value system, right? Yeah. So the token is doing is connecting various stored value systems. So we'll build a stored value system in Australia, and we'll build a stored value system in Singapore, and we already have a stored value system here in the Philippines. And the token is what enables somebody. Let's say I have the SALPay system in Australia, and I want to send the money instantly back to someone in the Philippines. That's the token moving it. That maybe even will be invisible to the user, although of course they will be able to hold the tokens themselves, purchase them, from exchanges or from our exchange. And using that, they could convert other ERC20 tokens with SALs and spend directly on the card. So it also enables people in those countries to use it as a cryptocurrency account or a cryptocurrency card. But the primary use case that we're initially attacking is really for this cross-border remittance of money, and not necessarily migrant workers, although it certainly works for that. We're much more targeting is businesses. So there's really a big problem of what's known as cross-border payroll. Yeah. It's just in Southeast Asia, just in our region alone, it's a $250 billion a year problem. The company have to move this money around and lose it. And so globally, it's a multi-trillion-dollar a year problem. And so we certainly think that the market is right for really these types of B2B solutions. There's lots of B2C, but the B2B is not really very catered yet.
Sorry, when you quantified the 250B market, was that in terms of efficiencies lost? In terms of
no, that's total value transferred across markets.
Total value, got it. Yeah, got it. So going back to our questions, like there was a page in your white paper, I'm being really technical now, page 21 that has has a detailed workflow of how the money's being transferred and how it's flowing from one exchange to another in your ecosystem. Can you kind of briefly describe like how this SALPay tokens enable that movement of funds through all these like various systems? Yeah. Sure.
So very key to us is, and the kind of the primary purpose that we did the ICO is our technology exists, our customers exist. So it's really to license and to provide liquidity for this exchange network that we're building. And so that exchange network, if you think about it, very, very simple use cases. Today we have an Australian BPO. Their money before how it gets into the Philippines is not my problem. They use my software to keep track of their employees' time, their schedules, their leave, and then how much to pay them. Mm-hmm. And then, so for example, it tells them to pay $10,000 for this payroll period. They take that in local Philippine peso. How they got it to the Philippines is not my issue. They load it into any of the bank accounts that we service. So we work with about 14 banks here in the Philippines. They can fund the account. Once the account gets funded, then we can allow them to transfer it directly to the SALPay cards and e-wallets of their employees, right? So that's our current kind of value proposition. That same Australian BPO, what he'll do is after we build our exchange in Australia and get it licensed, instead of him needing to send that money into the Philippines and convert it into peso, which he's losing about 2.5% and about 3 to 5 days, he'll use my software still to keep track of the time and attendance of his employees, use it to calculate their pay. And when it tells him, okay, you have to pay $10,000 equivalent in Philippine peso, he'll be able to just give us the $10,000 Australian in Australia. And then this is where our exchange network works, is it will execute kind of a buyback. So we'll have to buy our SALPay tokens back from the public market at the current market rate to buy $10,000 worth. And then we'll execute a buy-sell for him at the same time. So we'll buy them in Australia on his behalf, send them to the Philippines, sell them in Philippines on his behalf, and then push those back into the market. And so that transfer is what essentially we're saving. This is the value that we're adding to the customer.
Oh, okay. So it's like an open marketplace on your exchange in essence.
It's like a big closed loop that has openings at either end so that it can pull from the market and push back into the market.
Interesting. It's a very, very interesting approach.
We spent a lot of time thinking about like how can we come up with that kind of a token utility that solves this problem. So we approached this because customers came to us with this problem. Yeah. Existing customers of ours said, hey, we love your solution. We love everything about it. We just have this problem of moving money into your country. Can you solve it? And so we thought, okay, what's the best way to solve it? And then also, what's the best way to kind of build a token utility around it that really adds value to the token, but also creates a kind of sustainable value to the business. And so that's kind of the mechanics. You see a lot of ICOs where the utility that they lay out as the token appreciates in value, which is what many people are hoping, it actually worsens it for the utility of the business, right? So how does that play out long term if the positive effect to the token shareholders is the negative effect to the business? That's not going to be very sustainable. And so we spent a lot of time kind of working out the mechanics of how we can build a business that, as the token kind of appreciates because of the supply demand, it doesn't actually kill the current business. Otherwise, it's not going to be very sustainable.
Yeah, I see. So when you talk about sustainability, like tell me, like how can you explain like how does like the volatility of the crypto markets in general, affect your business model? Because right now you have like right now in the crypto markets you see like trading pairs. So it will be SALPay tokens pegged against say BTC or Ether, and these main cryptocurrencies tend to be very volatile as well. So how would you deal with that?
So that's what's nice is in our business model, the price of the token doesn't necessarily matter at all for the business to move forward, right? So our customers, because they're doing fiat to fiat, that's what they're primarily looking. They want to give us fiat. When we transfer those funds, it actually transfers it just at the current market rate of the token, right? So if there's, for whatever reason, some volatility that pushes the token down, the buy sell happens so fast that we really remove nearly all of the risk. And the customer doesn't bear any of the risk anyways. The risk is all assumed by us. But because we do it so quickly, there's really no volatility given to the individual customer, right? And because of that, it doesn't, from a operating of our utility, and that was very important, the price fluctuation doesn't really matter. We'll always have a demand. And then as our demand just keeps on increasing, whether the price goes up or down, we'll still need to keep buying additional tokens to run our business.
Got it. So your currencies, your trading pairs would be primarily pegged to fiat currencies like SALPay tokens. Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll have SALPay, right? So we're listing, of course, on QUOINE, and we have, of course, so this is our AMA, and we'll have a few other kind of markets around that will give us a kind of market rate, right, of the price. So you'll be able to check what is the mid-market rate of SALPay token, and so that's going to be the price point that we'll peg it at, both in Australia and both in the Philippines. So it's the same peg, and that's why it's not really moving.
Okay, got it. So what made you decide to, say, create your own closed loop kind of exchanges, or would you be partnering like in different countries?
So eventually we may partner. Initially we want to build it ourselves because the whole key for us is really getting that 1% or less fee, right? Which is including any Forex or any commissions or anything. And so to do that, you really need to own the buy and sell process, because if you don't, the person in the other country is going to also need to make their margin, right? So we're able to offer this very, very low margin because the remittance is just part of the story for us. It's really about the whole SALPay ecosystem. So we're able to sacrifice a lot of margin there because we're making revenue from the wallet itself. But a pure exchange company couldn't, right? They have to pay their bills. They have to grow their business. So it is possible. We foresee like much further down the line, maybe in 2 or 3 years, when there's such a demand, there's such a volume of SALPay tokens that it is possible to partner with exchanges and get them to kind of lock in a set commission rate because they're aware of there's just going to be a tremendous amount of volume. So they would feel more comfortable ensuring that, because for us, it's not about the token itself. It's about the service that it enables for customers, and they need to be able to save money doing the service. And so if our utility doesn't do that, then why would they use our service if it doesn't save them money?
Yeah, understood. So with your current business model, being pegged, being based on blockchain tech, and also being based out of the Philippines, I presume, your main HQ, what's the perception of cryptocurrencies like in the Philippines, and how does it impact your operations as of now?
So the perception here is excellent. Philippines is one of the most forward-thinking. Our central bank here is if not the most, one of the most forward-thinking central banks in Southeast Asia. in understanding what is cryptocurrency and how it's not something to be afraid of. It's certainly here to help people. And so Philippines was one of the first countries to create a license. So there you can get licensed in the Philippines, a virtual currency license. That is one of the primary purposes of our ICO, was to raise the funds for the legal fees and the paid up capital required to get that license. And so we're very happy here. As we mentioned, our banking partner in the Philippines is Union Bank. We just announced a big partnership with them and Visa. And they are as well very blockchain friendly. They're the first member in the Philippines in the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. They bring over groups from Consensus Labs and other Ethereum groups. So there is a great perception for blockchain here and cryptocurrency in the Philippines. And so if you've seen in our roadmap, the countries we're targeting are only those that have already created kind of clear legislation about, okay, if you want to operate here, this is how you get a license, this is how you run your business. And that's what we've always said, is our roadmap will only go to countries that have already passed clear legislation.
Okay, it's good. It's good to hear that the Philippines is very pro crypto, and that they're actually going to move towards licensing cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, you have already 2 licensed exchange and about 16 in the application process now with the central bank here. So. Oh
wow, that is really, really interesting. Okay, because Japan was the one to set this pace first after the Mt. Gox collapse. They were the first movers to actually regulate cryptocurrency players. And it seems like Philippines will be the second one.
Yeah, and so if you look, Australia, it's fully licensed and legal. And Singapore, they don't necessarily have a license yet, but the MAS is very crypto friendly, I would say.
They are, and there's some amendments and talks about amendments in the payments bill, so that's happening in Singapore at the moment. Okay, this is great news. And then going forward, based on your roadmap for SALPay, you're looking to expand across several regions. So as you mentioned, you want to expand to countries that are pro regulation in the crypto space. You named Singapore, Australia, in addition to the Philippines. Do you have any other countries in your roadmap?
Of course, yeah. So in our roadmap on the site, we really stuck to just a 12-month roadmap. We didn't want to kind of lay out these 3 or 4 year ones, as plans change, as we know, quite frequently, especially in the crypto space. But yeah, we're looking for 2019 at Malaysia, Thailand, and we're really hoping that Indonesia this year gets some kind of clear legislation on path, because we would love to roll out in Indonesia as well next year. So it's really up to the regulators. If we see that there's not going to be any issues to come in with our solution, we're happy to roll out to every country.
Yeah, I've noticed you've also picked countries that are just more mobile friendly in terms of banking. So Indonesia, for example, I've worked there for 5 years. People that have just completely leapfrog desktops and just credit cards and just jump straight into
these countries. A lot of it comes from pain, right? So the reason that you see so many fintech companies kind of coming out of Southeast Asia is that banks here are very, very traditional. They don't really lend. They don't really provide very much service. It's a very, the customer doesn't really have their way with the banks. And that's why you see so many fintech solutions coming out of these emerging markets like Southeast Asia, Africa. So you have some fintech solutions coming out of Europe as well, but not really anything kind of groundbreaking. It's more the banks there are already providing such a high quality of service to their customers. Very hard for a fintech to come in. But I think in these kind of regions, there's just a huge gap between where the banks are and where the customers are, right? So you have these rural provincial areas where there's just not physically a bank out there. And then also just in terms of what the bank's business has been for a long time as to now. And so there's a mindset shift change. Some banks are embracing it. Some are not. It's okay.
Yeah. So in terms of scaling plans, you're looking at, I guess one angle is, yes, having a pro-regulatory environment for crypto. Are there any other considerations that you'd look at before coming into a new country?
No, I mean, for us, of course, we look at the right partnerships as well. Like, so the thing that we do is when you want to do a really solid card program, it's very essential you roll it out country by country. Thankfully, we have very good relationship with Visa, MasterCard, and the likes. And so it's not that hard to find partners because the way that we run our program is very aligned with what they're looking for. But yeah, that's part of it as well. So when we look at a new market, it's okay finding the partner platform, the partner bank, and then one that has kind of crypto-friendly environment. And then those are kind of the factors we look at to say, okay, that's a really good market for us to enter. In terms of the market readiness, we just think with our solution and how we acquire customers, there's not really any market that's not ready for SALPay and Salarium to enter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good. How has it been so far outside of the Philippines? I know you have a partnership with Union Bank, but how are you making headway with other banks in the region or like other partners?
So in Singapore and Hong Kong, we already have our partner there for distributing our cards and our stored value wallet. So that's very easy. Australia, we're talking to a couple of groups already, so we hope to close one of those very soon as well. In terms of the regulatory, our legal teams, so we have our law firms in each of the various territories, pumping away, filing the paperwork with the various, MAS in Singapore, the Australian version of that. And so everything is kind of on track to move where we'd like. So we're very happy.
Okay, that's great. I mean, great to hear your progress so far. And I just looked at your website. You've just concluded your ICO, I believe. So
yeah, we ended it December 31st. So it was done as the New Year ended. Yeah, so now we're just gearing up to list on QUOINE. I know there's been a big pent up demand. So our ICO ended a lot before many people had heard of it. So it's okay. We don't mind. We're very happy with the outcome of our ICO, but a lot of people entered our Telegram chat group and our intercom and our website on the 1st of January or the 2nd of January, very, very eager to get into the ICO because they had seen some of the video interviews we had done in the last week. And unfortunately, we had said, sorry, you have to wait until we're on an exchange. And so we're very happy that this coming Monday we'll finally list on QUOINE, the first exchange debut listing of SALPay tokens. And so anybody that's interested, and we have a lot just from the feedback in our Telegram group, there are many people that are interested to participate. And we also didn't allow Singaporeans, we didn't allow Chinese, and we didn't allow Americans to participate in the ICO. So many of them are very eager to pick up the tokens in the exchange market as well.
Yeah, wow. Okay, this would be a great opportunity to let other people, as you said, from these countries participate as well in owning some SALPay tokens. So we really have been looking forward for a while to listing SALPay on QUOINE. Even during the planning process, I've been getting great reviews internally from my colleagues. We're gonna list SALPay. This is great. And we and as much as possible, we want to obviously collaborate and help provide this access to liquidity for any business, especially fintech businesses that build their products or services on a blockchain. And we want to have we want to offer the best service and the best platform for you guys. So anyone that purchases your token can do it in a safe and secure manner. I would like to know, in your own words, why did you choose QRYPTOS over all the other exchanges out there? Yeah,
so I mean, you guys we see it as you guys becoming one of the top 10 exchanges very soon because of some of those reasons, right? So you guys very transparent, very easy to deal with. We like the security factor of your site, right? So you guys have never had any hacking issues. You've never had any kind of really big security problems, phishing, and that is because you guys put a lot of time and energy into that. Very direct, very easy to talk to, right? So that was also one of it for us. I try to do business only with people that I like, and so it was very easy to talk to the QURYPTOS people and say, okay, yeah, these are decent people. They have kind of the same goals. And then, that as well, that there is, that very large liquidity market that you guys are building. I know a lot of people think, okay, you're one of the mid-sized exchanges now, but we're very aware of your ICO that took place in November, which was the largest in Asia. And we certainly think that that's going to lead to making you guys one of the top exchanges very, very soon.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was kind of like a really under the radar kind of thing when we concluded our sale. We didn't really announce it with a big bang, like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
We just raised like close to $300 million worth of ETH now.
And now at today's rate, it's over 350 million, right? So it's tremendous amount of funds to grow, and that's what we tell people. 6 months ago, Binance was nothing before they did their ICO, and now, of course, they're number one. And so we think very much that QUOINE is headed directly in that same direction. So
yeah, and we're very much doing it in a similar way to yours, like pro-regulatory approach. We want to adopt a very collaborative stance with both banks and also other fintech startups, property fintech startups like yourselves, in the ecosystem. And yeah, we look forward to great things to come from you, and also look forward to future collaborations as well.
Fantastic.
Great.